Hello, everybody. This is Michael with Mikey Does Outdoors, and this is the second installment of Mikey's Tales. This is about the great snipe hunt. One summer afternoon, probably on a Friday or so, a few of my friends and I were sitting around just talking, and we're just kind of discussing how we'd like to go do some fishing. One guy had bought him a tent, and he'd like to go try out his new tent. And so we got all of our stuff together, and we decided we'd go do some camping and maybe some fishing. We knew of a place where we could camp out. It was pretty close to a small river that we knew about, and so we went down there, got loaded up our trucks, went down there, and we set up our camp. Most of us, only one of us had a tent, and that was the guy that had the new tent. And so most of us were going to, it was time for bed, roll our sleeping bags out next to the, close to the fire, somewhat close to the fire, and then just sleep right there on the ground like that. And but we helped the other guy get his tent all set up. And then we went down and we weren't going to fish with fishing poles. We had a trot line. Everybody knows what that is. It's a long line with multiple hooks, and you can put multiple baits out there. So we put that out there, found a deep spot in the river. This river kind of fluctuates some, but it has some places in it that's pretty good. And usually you can catch the catfish or something. And so we took and put the trot line out and caught a small catfish, and that was going to make for some good eating later on that evening. Then we were back at the around where we were getting the campfire ready, and we were talking about things, and somebody brought up the idea of the snipe hunt. And I figured we all figured that most of us knew what it was, but apparently one guy, and we're just going to call him Bubba for this deal. I'm not going to give out his name, but his name we'll just call him Bubba. But anyway, Bubba had never been snipe hunting, so the rest of us got the idea. Well, we needed to take Bubba on a snipe hunt, and so we searched around because the way we've always done it. You need a bag of some sort. So we took, kind of looking everybody's the couple pickups that we took, and we found an old burlap sack, a couple of them really. We took both of them with us, and then we walked. You could walk a pretty good ways and not be on private property around that part. So we went down it's probably a mile or at least a mile from the camp, and we found a good spot, and we uh, started telling Bubba how you're supposed to catch snipe. And we put him down there, and we told him you're supposed to run back and forth, and make the noise, and change the tone from high to low, and then what will happen is we'll go and we'll beat the brush all the way back up, and then we'll beat it back and chase the snipe towards him. And so I got him to practice what he's doing. Got the bag where it's open and down by the ground, and he'd run back and forth and make the noise. And we told him to watch for it because it's going to be all white with a little bit of black on it, and you need to make sure you catch the right thing. We don't want to catch him any any kind of critters that might either smell a bunch or maybe be pretty ferocious, or even maybe a snake. It was still warm enough; it could have been a snake or something. But we gave him those instructions, and said he was ready. And he told us that not to worry because he could catch just about anything that walked or crawled or flew. And so we knew we had the right guy for the job. Anyway, so a couple of us we found some tree limbs that were on the ground, and we grabbed them, and we split up, some of us on one side and some of us on the other side, and went and kind of beating the brushes all the way back up to camp. And of course he couldn't see us by the time we got there, so we just decided to just stop, and we'll go gather around the campfire and see if he can figure it out by the time it gets dark. So we're sitting there around the campfire, and we're just having a good time, just telling more stories about stuff. Maybe other times we went snipe hunting with folks. Maybe the time we first went snipe hunting. Anyway, in a little bit here, a little while later, I guess probably 30 minutes or so passed. We heard way off in the background, "I got one," and so we had this. We all looked at each other with astonishment, and then we listened real close, and then we heard it again, "I got one. But you didn't tell me these things stink. It smells like a skunk." And so we jumped up and looked around, and he had that burlap sack in his hand, all like you would if you were going to carry something like that. And whatever was in there was kind of squirming pretty good. And he was telling us, "You didn't tell me it smelled like a skunk." So we yelled at him to stop. So he stopped down there a little ways away from us. which was a good thing because it did stink. It was terrible. And so we had to quiz him a little bit and asked him, okay, so um, did you make sure what you caught was all white and maybe a little black on it? Oh yeah, that's what it is. And it said, did it have fur or feathers? Because it should have had feathers because a snipe is a bird. Oh no, I think this one had fur on it. We were like, well, you probably should take another peek down in that sack and see what you got in there, because I don't think that's going to be a snipe. And he took a peek down in there and carefully opened his bag a little bit and looked down in there, and all of a sudden, splat, right on his forehead. Something splattered on his forehead, and it started stinking. And he dropped the sack and started running off and yelling and carrying on. He got down there a ways, and then we were wondering what it was. And so one of our other guys, we'll call him Jim, um, he decided he was going to sneak up there a little bit and see if he could see what was in the sack. And so as he started walking up there, where it was started coming out, and it actually did come all the way out of the bag and looked at him, and then he was too close because it turned around and whack, splat, got him right in the chest. And it turns out what Bubba had caught was an albino skunk, and boy did it stink like nobody's business. Boy, it stunk. We were all about to choke and wanting to throw up, and Jimmy was wanting to cry because he was burning his eyes and stuff. So we said he had a shirt on. He might as well try to take his shirt off, and maybe that'll help. So he ripped his shirt off, and it did help, but he still stunk pretty bad. And then we went down and tried to catch old Bubba. We caught him and tried to bring him to his senses, and we told him that wasn't a snipe, that was a skunk he had caught. And he went back up to around the campfire, and that skunk was still there. We got from a distance, took a good look at it, and could tell that it was an albino skunk. None of us had ever seen one or even really heard of one of those before, but this was what we were seeing. And so, it was still there. So we decided we'd just leave our camping gear, and we'll just go back to town. And we'd come out there in 2 pickups, and so we made Jimmy, and Bubba ride in the back of the pickups because we didn't want that smell inside the trucks. And this was back when it was still legal to ride, for anybody to ride in the back of a truck. And so they rode, and we tried not to go too fast for them, but we wanted a little bit of that wind to blow the smell away from us. And so we went on into town and dropped them off at their houses. And then I went up to the little local grocery store and bought a couple of cans of tomato juice for each one of them, and took it to them and told them to take a bath in that. Now, a few weeks later, about a week later, I guess it was, I was headed down to get some groceries at the local grocery store, and just as I get there, somebody runs out, opening the door and holding it, and people running out, and they're waving their hands in front of their nose and coughing and sputtering, and one or two of them looked like they wanted to throw up, and they looked relieved that I was there, because they come up and run up to me and told me that Bubba was in there, and he smelled like a skunk to no end. I mean, they said he was so bad that they had to clear the store. But since he was my friend, and the whole town knows, this is a small town, and the town knows everybody and who's friends and who's not friends and that kind of thing. But they sent me in there, told me I need to go in there and talk him out into coming back out of there. And, because he stunk so bad. So I went in there to see old Bubba, and boy, I just walked through the door, and it just about makes you choke. But I had to do it because I had to go see him and get him out of that store. But I turned the corner there and found him, and he was over there crying, telling me, Michael, I felt so bad about everybody's camping gear being left out there because I caught a skunk instead of a snipe. And I went back out there. I figured the skunk was gone by now, so I went back out there to see if I could gather up the stuff. When I got there, it still stunk, but I thought, well, that was just a residual, probably. And so, but you noticed the tent door was flapping, and it had never been zipped shut. And so he decided to go take a peek inside that tent. As soon as he did, he saw that same albino skunk, and then he noticed there were 4 little bitty baby skunks, 3 black and whites, normal black and whites, and 1 more albino. And before he could get the tent door shut, they let him have it. Splat, splat, splat. I mean, they just let him. He said the little ones seemed to rapid fire on him. He was still got soaked. His whole shirt was seemed to be soaked with that smell. And he took it off, but he was still stinking like nobody's business. And so I convinced him to go home. I told him I would buy every can of tomato juice that the store had, and I'd bring it to him. And so he left the building, but they still had to. It took them the rest of the day. They just had to shut down for business that day and put some fans in there. And so I bought every can of tomato juice that they had there at that store, and I took it over to Bubba, and I got right inside the door and set it down. But then he came around the corner and wanted to talk to me just a little bit. He notified me that he wasn't ever going snipe hunting again, because he wasn't about to catch a skunk again. And matter of fact, he was thinking about moving to the city and giving up on the outdoor stuff altogether because it stunk so bad. And he just wasn't about to go through that again. And that's the story of the great snipe hunt. If you liked it, I would appreciate it if you'd hit the subscribe button and hit the like button, and then tell your friends about it. Thank you.